There are moments in life when everything seems to go wrong at once. You wake up and the world feels heavy. A relationship is crumbling. Your career feels like a dead end. The bank account is empty. A sudden crisis hits you from the blind side, and your mind begins to race like a wild horse. You feel a desperate, clawing need to fix it. You feel that you must do something, anything, to stop the pain. You tell yourself that action is the only solution. You tell yourself that standing still is dangerous. So, you start to run. You make phone calls, you send angry messages, you make rash decisions. You try to force the world back into shape with your bare hands. But have you ever noticed what happens when you act out of this frantic energy? Usually, the problem does not get solved. It gets worse. The knot gets tighter. The confusion deepens. You find yourself exhausted, standing in the wreckage of your own good intentions, wondering why your efforts only created more chaos. There is a profound lesson about this paradox found in the ancient wisdom of the Tao Te Ching. It is a lesson that goes against everything our modern culture teaches us. We are raised to be doers. We are praised for being busy. We are taught that if there is a problem, we must attack it. But the ancient masters knew that sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to stop moving altogether. Imagine a scene from ancient China in a quiet bamboo grove by a river. An old master, perhaps Lao Tzu himself, is sitting on a flat stone. A young student rushes up to him. The student is panicked. His face is red. His breathing is shallow. He begins to pour out his troubles. He speaks of enemies at the court, of rumors being spread about him, of plans that have failed. He asks the master, "What should I do? How can I clear my name? How can I fight this?" The master does not answer immediately. Instead, he picks up a glass jar and dips it into the river. The river is flowing fast, and the water he captures is full of sand, silt, and dead leaves. It is brown and opaque. You cannot see through it. The master holds the jar up to the light. He asks the student a simple question. "Look at this water. It is turbid and dark. Who can make this muddy water clear?" The student looks at the jar. He thinks about it. "We could filter it," he suggests. "We could try to scoop the dirt out with a spoon." The master shakes his head. "If you put your spoon in," he says, "you will only stir the water more. You will keep the mud swirling. The more you try to force the dirt to the bottom, the longer it will stay suspended." The student becomes frustrated. "Then what is the solution?" The master places the jar on the stone next to him. "Watch," he says. They sit in silence. Minutes pass. At first, the water swirls violently inside the glass. But slowly, the energy of the motion begins to die down. The heavy particles of sand begin to sink. The lighter specks of dust drift downward. A layer of mud begins to form at the bottom of the jar. And as the mud settles, the water above it becomes transparent. It becomes so clear that you can see the veins of the leaves on the trees behind it. "Do you see?" the master asks. The water cleared itself. It did not need your help. It only needed your absence of interference. It needed you to let it be. This metaphor of the muddy water is a perfect description of the human mind during a crisis. When you are emotional, when you are hurt or afraid, your mind is full of sediment. Your thoughts are like the swirling sand. You cannot see the reality of the situation because you are looking through a cloud of your own reactions. When we try to fix our lives while we are in this state, we are like the student trying to scoop out the mud with a spoon. We are just stirring the water. Think about how this plays out in your own life. Perhaps you go through a breakup. You are hurt and confused. The water is very muddy. You feel a compulsion to get closure, or to explain your side, or to win them back. So you send a text message late at night. It is long and emotional. You hit send, and then you wait. They do not reply. Now the water is even muddier. You send another text. You check their social media. You ask friends what they are doing. You are churning the water so violently that you have lost all perspective. You are creating a storm in a glass, and you are drowning in it. Or perhaps it happens at work. You receive a piece of criticism that feels unfair. Your first instinct is to defend yourself. You write a sharp email back to your boss. You complain to your colleagues. You let the anger drive your actions. By the end of the day, a small misunderstanding has turned into a war. You have stirred up so much sediment that no one can see the truth anymore. We do this with our finances. We do this with our children. We do this with our health. We are terrified of the void. We are terrified that if we do nothing, the worst will happen. But the Taoist teaching offers a different view. It suggests that clarity is not something you create. It is something that arrives when you stop destroying it. The mud in the jar represents your emotions and your confusing thoughts. The clear water represents wisdom and right action. You cannot have the clear water until the mud settles. And the mud cannot settle if you keep shaking the jar. So, how do we apply this? How do we practice the art of doing nothing when every fiber of our being wants to scream? It requires a tremendous amount of internal strength. It is much harder to sit still than it is to run around. The first step is to recognize the muddy state. You must learn to identify the physical signs of turbidity. Is your chest tight? Is your jaw clenched? Are your thoughts looping in a circle? Do you feel a sense of extreme urgency? Urgency is almost always a sign that the water is muddy. True intuition is usually calm and quiet. Panic is loud and demanding. When you feel that urgency to act right now, that is the exact moment you must stop. Implement a rule for yourself. Call it the 72-hour rule. When a crisis hits, or when a big emotion overtakes you, commit to doing absolutely nothing about it for 3 days. Do not send that email. Do not sell that stock. Do not have that serious conversation with your partner. Just wait. Put the jar down on the stone. During these 3 days, the mud will swirl. You will feel uncomfortable. You will feel the itch to intervene. Watch that itch, but do not scratch it. Go for a walk. Clean your house. Sleep. Let time do the heavy lifting for you. You will be amazed at what happens. After 3 days, the situation will look completely different. The intense emotion will have settled to the bottom. It will still be there. The mud does not disappear, but it will no longer block your vision. You will be able to see through the water. You might realize that the criticism from your boss had a grain of truth in it. You might realize that the relationship needed to end. You might see a solution to your financial problem that was invisible to you when you were panicking. This is the power of Wu Wei, or non-action. It does not mean being lazy. It does not mean being passive. It means waiting for the right moment to act. It means acting from a place of clarity rather than a place of confusion. When the water is clear, the right action becomes obvious. It requires no effort. You simply do what needs to be done. You pick up the phone. You sign the paper. You walk away. There is no struggle because you are no longer fighting against the current of your own emotions. We often think that we need to control the world to be safe, but the more we try to control the uncontrollable, the more turbid our lives become. We pollute our own clarity with our anxiety. There is a great trust required in this practice. You have to trust that the universe has its own rhythm. You have to trust that the mud knows how to settle. Gravity is a law of nature. You do not need to help gravity. In the same way, the psychological immune system knows how to process pain. You do not need to micromanage it. So, the next time you find yourself in the middle of a storm, remember the jar of river water. Remember that your frantic attempts to fix things are likely just making them blind. Take your hands off the wheel. Step back from the ledge. Sit on the stone by the river and breathe. Let the noise subside. Let the dust drift down to the floor of your mind. Wait for the clarity. It will come. It always comes. And when it does, you will know exactly what to do. Until then, do nothing. Just watch the water.